dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:30 on this Friday. I'm Will Puckett. Cassidy has today off, so you're stuck with just Brandon and I. But it's a good thing because we're in good hands as we expect some winter weather, some sort of something, we're going to call it, Brandon, this weekend. And people are going to need to know about it as we're in a severe weather alert day.
That's right. And a lot of folks, you know, we do these severe weather alert days as early as we can to get you plenty of time to get prepared. That's what we're doing today, giving you kind of 24 hours of notice, because by this time tomorrow, we will see the potential for some snow. But let's take a look at current conditions because it is a cold day. Let's start with the camera as we go over to UVA-wise first. And clear skies, you can see the clouds, or not the clouds, the stars moving there in the background as the night sky continues to move through. And we see again over McKee this morning, McKee camera back online, looking pretty quiet downtown. A lot of folks probably bundled up inside trying to stay warm. Satellite and radar, not a whole lot going on here. A few clouds across parts of the area in the eastern counties, but as we zoom out to the big picture, look at all the rain and snow and mess out there to the west. That's moving in our general direction and will be here later tonight. Now, the big story is the temperatures this morning. Again, it was cold yesterday, but it's even colder today. The only good thing, saving grace about today, no wind. The wind has calmed down for the most part. 22 Prestonsburg, 18 Jackson, Hazard, Wise, Harlan, London, Williamsburg, and then you see 19 there, Pikeville and Somerset, but a lot of cold air still filtering in here this morning, and 20s are hard to come by. We zoom out to the regional picture, only 29 in Myrtle Beach, so you can tell how far this cold snap goes all the way to the south. It's actually just a little bit warmer in Myrtle Beach than it is in New York. They're at 26, Pittsburgh at 21. You got to go back out west towards Springfield, Missouri to get some warmer air at 34. So the forecast for today, we get to 39, closer to 40 in some spots. Sun early, clouds late. That system rolls in tonight, and it will bring snow chances overnight. I'll talk more about those coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, we are entering the 21st day of the partial government shutdown. Yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell blocked a move by Democrats to vote on spending bills to reopen the government. The House already passed legislation to fund some closed departments like the IRS. The Democrats urged some of closed agencies are not related to the border wall debate. McConnell described the move as a political stunt.
But the last thing we need to do right now is to trade pointless, absolutely pointless show votes back and forth across the aisle. The political stunts are not going to get us anywhere.
Now, Senator McConnell from Kentucky has said the Senate will not vote on a spending bill that President Trump does not support. Meanwhile, back in the Commonwealth, protesters gathered outside Senator McConnell's office in Louisville on Thursday to protest the shutdown. Furloughed federal workers were part of the crowd and voiced their frustrations about not being paid while the border wall debate continues. Just to the northeast, protesters also gathered on both sides of the Ohio River to have their voices heard. Dozens of people, including federal employees, gathered outside the IRS building in Covington and Senator Rob Portman's office in Cincinnati. One man who works for the IRS in northern Kentucky says he just wants to go back to work and get paid to do it.
I just want to go to work. I have a job I really like, and I feel that I'm good at. Let me do it, please.
Now, today will be the first paycheck 800,000 federal employees, both active and furloughed, will miss because of the shutdown. And even if your finances aren't affected, the services you receive from the government likely are. The FDA only has about 60% of its staff at work to oversee food safety and monitor recalls or outbreaks. New and ongoing NTSB investigations of significant accidents are on hold. The National Hurricane Center says its research and development to improve hurricane forecasts is in jeopardy also. Well, in other political news this morning, a West Virginia state senator who is running for president is stepping down from his post. Richard Ojeda, who is from Logan County, told news outlets he will resign next week. Governor Jim Justice will choose his replacement. Ojeda made the announcement he was going to run for the nation's highest office back in November. Well, back to Kentucky now, where Governor Matt Bevin is reaffirming that he plans to file for re-election. The Republican has not yet filed the paperwork to run in 2019, but he did tell the Cincinnati Enquirer he plans to file before the January 29th deadline. He has not said exactly when he will do it or who his running mate will be. Well, on Wednesday, lawmakers unveiled what they say is the General Assembly's #1 initiative this session, school safety legislation. It does not address any type of gun control or safety. Some legislatures have filed separate bills dealing with firearms. Hillary Thornton takes a look at 2 of those bills.
Representative George Brown is pushing 2 firearm-related bills this session, one dealing with gun safety, the other dealing with what he calls common sense gun control.
It is not an easy issue to address and or talk about, but it's an issue that's necessary.
Last session, following a couple of deadly school shootings, including one here in Kentucky, Representative Brown did file a piece of legislation aiming to ban bump stocks and implement some other regulations. However, that did not receive a hearing. He says he is hopeful this year it will get one and says the language of the Second Amendment is outdated.
Now we have more advanced weaponry and we have the ability to kill more people. There should be a ban on weapons in society that are used for war.
His other proposal would require gun owners to store them securely.
We want people to be responsible for their weapons. The Marshall County shooting, from the reports I got, and then I understand that the young man used his stepfather's gun that was unsecured.
Representative Brown, a member of the school safety working group formed shortly after that shooting. Yesterday, a school safety bill resulting from that work unveiled.
We did not get into any type of gun control legislation in this bill.
Representative Brown says he believes the bill is a good first step, but that they have to do more.
We're going to be back at this place again. I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but I want to be realistic as well.
Hillary Thornton, WYMT Mountain News.
Representative Brown's bill also aims to close gun show loopholes and require registration of assault weapons. Well, one Kentucky lawmaker filed a bill that would ban abortions if a heartbeat is detected. Under the new legislation, abortion providers would be required to check for a fetal heartbeat. If one is detected, it would be a Class D felony to perform the procedure unless there is a medical emergency. The ACLU warns the bill would trigger a lawsuit. The state is already tied up in 3 lawsuits over abortion restrictions. A former Democratic lobbyist convicted of bribing a top official in Attorney General Andy Beshear's office will spend more than 2.5 years in prison. James Sullivan was sentenced to 33 months in prison and fined $25,000 on Thursday in federal court. Sullivan was convicted last summer of bribing former Deputy Attorney General Tim Longmire in an attempt to win business for some law firms. Police, parents, and others are looking for answers after authorities say a 12-year-old girl stabbed an 11-year-old boy in the head with a pair of scissors. The Philadelphia School District says the incident happened Thursday afternoon at an elementary school in West Philadelphia. The victim is in stable condition. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. The 12-year-old suspect is in custody. We're learning more about 3 Central Kentucky school employees charged with criminal abuse involving a special needs student. A criminal summons for Lincoln County teacher Rebecca Spurlock said teacher's aide Janine Hasty punched the student who has autism and is nonverbal. Officials say Hasty and another aide, Teresa Sparkman, then twisted the student's arm, pulled him off the floor, and shoved him. The documents say Spurlock did nothing to intervene. Kentucky lawmakers are thanking the men and women who helped protect them in the Commonwealth. They gave a standing ovation on the House floor Thursday as troopers walked in. Lawmakers honored those who serve as part of Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
You'll never know how much we appreciate your service. Oftentimes it goes unspoken, but today we wanted to make sure we singled you all out to say thank you so very much.
Each trooper was recognized on the House floor. Well, Ashland City Commissioners recently recognized 2 officers who went above and beyond the call of duty, saving 2 lives. Back in December, Officer Rob Brunty and Officer Chase Serrano were dispatched to a house fire in Ashland. The officers were the first on the scene. They were told 3 people were trapped inside, so the officers went into the burning home and were able to rescue 2 of those victims. The 2 officers were awarded a Medal of Honor for their bravery.
Kudos to them, and you know, that's not a normal thing for law enforcement. You know, we're not firing, but you know, in a situation like that, it's exigent. Officers' adrenaline's flowing, and they're going to do what they need to do to go in and try to save a life.
Now, unfortunately, they were not able to rescue the 3rd person trapped inside because of the heat and smoke that overcame them. Officials say the situation could have been much worse if it had not been for the 2 officers jumping into action. Well, it's a picture that warmed the hearts of many who saw it. The Perry County School Resource Officer eating breakfast with his son. Sean White is the SRO at East Perry Elementary. He walks the halls every day, not only keeping kids safe, but interacting with them. He also peeks in classrooms, like you can see here, making sure their days are going well and showing them that police are not always what they're made out to be. Deputy White eats with the different kids every day and says during the past 3 years he has been in the schools, he has watched a lot of kids grow up. Straight ahead on Mountain News this morning, we will tell you about a radio signal that is not only out of this world, it's out of this universe. And later, the Plugged In crew will review a movie hitting theaters this weekend.
It's a bitter cold morning out there, so make sure you bundle up if you're heading out soon. I'll have the full forecast in about 2.5 minutes.